We begin this afternoon with shocking new photos released by TMZ, which allegedly show U.S. Marines burning the bodies of dead Iraqi insurgents back in 2004 in Fallujah, Iraq. TMZ reports it obtained 41 photos, but it did not name the source of those pictures. Also, the website said it will not release all of the pictures because some of them are just too gruesome. We are going to put a couple of those up on the air right now, so please be warned, these pictures are extremely graphic and upsetting. But we here at RT America believe they are an important representation of the true ugliness of war. Two of the photos appear to show a Marine pouring gas on what seems to be two Iraqi insurgents. Two other pictures show the bodies on fire. Another shows the Marines posing with the dead bodies. Others that are not being disclosed are the ones that show the bodies being covered in flies and being eaten by dogs. TMZ reports that it turned the pictures over to the Pentagon last week. RT reached out to the Pentagon for comment today. Here's part of the statement that they sent back. The actions depicted in these photos are not what we expect from our service members, nor do they represent the honorable and professional service of the more than 2.5 million Americans who have served in Iraq and Afghanistan. The Marine Corps is currently investigating the veracity of these photos, circumstances involved, and, if possible, the identities of the service members involved. Again, these pictures have not yet been confirmed for accuracy. However, if they are, this would be yet another explosive revelation about how some troops conducted themselves overseas. Another discovery in January 2012 showed U.S. soldiers urinating on the bodies of dead insurgents. Joining me now to discuss these horrifying images is Jake Diliberto, a political researcher at the University of Birmingham. Jake, thank you so much for joining me. I want to get your initial impressions of these pictures.
Hi, Megan. So initially, when I looked into photos and began making some phone calls and investigating a little bit more, my personal view was I thought, obviously, again, they were gross. They also demonstrate the sort of the violence, the brutality of conflict, and the kind of nefarious behavior that can come out of it. But I think as I investigated a little bit more, I think what became clear to me was two major things. Is that one, in the past there has been situations where soldiers have been ordered for humanitarian purposes to burn bodies for cleanliness and this kind of thing. But that's not the kind of situation that you would see from photos like this. This is a clear demonstration to me of nefarious actions, cover-up, or scandal to some degree. And the Pentagon statement is evident of that. I mean, if the Pentagon knew that soldiers were doing this because of some sort of cleanliness, they would have come out right away. We have a report, we knew why, etc. But that didn't come out. So we definitely know there's nefarious behavior. There is some sort of criminality here performed by the Marines, unfortunately. And I think that the photos are very telling about the problems of war, how the brutality, how it can affect people's mental state of being, and also how it affects Iraqis. I mean, you can't tell any Iraqi who sees this is going to be outraged.
Now, as a former soldier yourself, was this aggression, this type of anger against Iraqi insurgents or other insurgents part of the culture?
Well, it's definitely, I mean, when you have revenge actions, when you have any kind of killing going on, one unit against a unit, this kind of thing can come out, as we saw in Afghanistan just a few years ago with the soldiers peeing on the Taliban, and also in the situations in Abu Ghraib. So they're isolated, they're not normal, but this is the problem that occurs in conflict zones. You don't see this in the streets of, Washington, D.C., where you're at, obviously. So it's a problem of war. It's a problem that all armies have had to deal with, and I think that it should make everyone's stomach curl and should make us frown about the war in general.
Jake Diliberto, former Marine, that is. Now, at the same time, U.S. troops were hung by the necks back in Fallujah in 2004. So is this just the true cost of war, the true face of war that people are finally starting to see here?
Well, yeah, for sure. I mean, as the longer we're separated from the conflict, we're able to see more and more of the problems of it. I think that this particular element highlights the particular 2004 years under Bush. In 2004, you remember, the United States basically pulled back into their bases. They were kind of they didn't have any real strategy or real political vision. This was largely because Rumsfeld was trying to get the U.S. out of Iraq as soon as possible. And so without a clear vision, without a clear mission, without a clear plan, sometimes soldiers and Marines can be left to their own demise, which I think is this situation. Had they had a mission to work with the Iraqis, to rebuild it, to do the kind of things you need to do, you wouldn't see these kind of behaviors. And also, if you're fighting somebody, you don't go and burn them afterwards. This is clearly a sign of lack of discipline, of lack of mission, and of revenge and sort of brutality that comes out of that kind of environment. So it's really,
Jake,
really bad.
Sorry to interrupt you there, but meanwhile, while all of this is going on, there has been this huge upspur of violence within Iraq, within Fallujah. And these photos, coincidentally enough, are from Fallujah. 62 were left dead just today as a result of some of these attacks. So as a former Marine yourself, I mean, what do you feel about knowing that this kind of violence is spurring up again? Do you feel like your mission was a failure?
Well, I've said over and over and again, and I'm happy to say it the rest of my life, that the decision made by the Bush administration to invade Iraq was an unbelievable mistake. It cost Americans thousands of lives, it cost trillions of dollars, and it certainly cost Iraqis a whole lot more. I mean, look at the country now; it's falling apart. And what's left? What do we have to answer for it? Well, not much. So was our mission a failure? Politically and strategically, absolutely.
Thank you so much for joining me, Jake Diliberto, a political researcher at the University of Birmingham.
Thank you.